Hello, I'm Goncharenko and you're watching TVP World Talks, where every word matters. 3 years ago, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stunned the world by refusing to run away from seemingly overwhelming Russian war machine. His famous "I need ammunition, not a ride" has become one of the most powerful statements of this century. But even as Ukraine continues to demonstrate impressive resilience and willpower, some alliances appear to be crumbling. Amidst puzzling pronouncements and economic pressure from the Trump administration and questions over Europe's ability to take up the mantle, Kyiv faces a moment of truth. Joining us now is Oleksiy Goncharenko, Ukrainian MP from the European Solidarity Movement. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Hello.
So let's begin with a few basic issues, because this is something that the international public seems to be forgetting, it seems. Would you agree that Vladimir Putin is a war criminal?
Definitely, Vladimir Putin is a war criminal, and it's the decision of International Criminal Court which issued a warrant. So for Ukrainians, everything is clear. Putin organized genocide against Ukrainians and occupied territories. Putin is killing our just absolutely civilian population, and so he is war criminal. Unfortunately, we see how the international order and international law is completely neglected. We see how aggressor and war criminal is coming back to international politics. This is very bad, not just for Ukraine, for everybody in the world, because that's what you are showing now can happen everywhere again, because nobody will be afraid of international law. But unfortunately, that's what's happening. Looks like the world still was not prepared and ready to really follow the values, not just interests.
So we do have footage of numerous Russian war crimes, Bucha, Irpin. These are stark reminders of what Russia is capable of doing, what it has done, and it keeps doing that to the Ukrainians. Why do you think the United States is willing to do business with Russia? And I'm going to quote Donald Trump briefly here. "I am in serious discussions with President Vladimir Putin of Russia concerning the ending of the war, and also major economic development transactions which will take place between the United States and Russia." Is this another edition, an American edition of the Wandel durch Handel policy? And why are they doing this? Because the last time I checked, this policy failed miserably.
Yeah, I also agree with you, but that's something I can't influence, and unfortunately, and all of us. That is a very bad story. That, again, as I told you, that shows that not values matter, but value matter, and that is not good. That is bad, and that will have consequences. But this is the way it was clear from the beginning, that under Donald Trump, the world will go not by rule, it will not be a rules-based international order, but deals-based international order. Donald Trump is a transactional person, so he's looking for good transactions, even if they are not in line with these values or international law. It's not so important for him.
Okay, but if Trump is looking for good transactions, why doesn't he understand that investing in Ukraine as an ally would actually relieve the United States from some of the responsibility for Europe? Ukraine has a battle-proven army that has proved its worth when fighting the Russians. Why not invest in this security asset that he already has, or at least may have?
Well, I don't think that he's thinking that it's on either or, you know. So he wants to have transactions with Russia, which will be profitable. And I don't think that he wants to, to say goodbye to Ukraine or anything. But you said the word responsibility before Europe. You really think so? That President Trump thinks that he's responsible for something for Europe? I doubt it seriously.
So when Trump is looking at Russia, some suggested that he might be looking at this sort of reverse Kissinger strategy to break up the alliance between Russia and China. Do you think this is feasible at this stage, that Russia would rather go along with the United States than China?
I don't know, but I think that's what he thinks. I really think that it is important part of equation in the Donald Trump's head is that Russia becoming more and more dependent from China is that it is a dangerous situation and he wants to get out of it. I think that he makes mistake if he thinks so, because I think that Russia will be with China in any way, because just they are dictatorships, and Putin understands that today is Donald Trump president of the United States. In 4 years, it may be another president of the United States. It should be even another president of the United States. And who will be and what will be policy towards Russia, Putin doesn't know. So for him, much more predictable is China, because they are both autocratic regimes without democracy. So it's clear for him how to operate with them. Not so clear about United States.
What was your initial impression when you saw the United States and Russia voting together in the United Nations, opposing the resolution that was presented in support of Ukraine by European countries?
The world has changed, unfortunately. That's something I saw in Munich. I was there at the Munich Security Conference. I heard the speech of G.D. Vance, Vice President of the United States, and I realized that it's another world. It's another geopolitical reality. And it doesn't matter do I like it or not. It happened. So now that's the question what we will do. Unfortunately, I don't want to give you much pessimism. And it doesn't mean, we here in Ukraine, we do not surrender. Ukraine keeps fighting. We are fighting for our future. But I want to tell you that now it's the time for Europe. Unfortunately, these 2 weeks showed that Europe really is not ready to be a united geopolitical player. We see how Europe is not united. We see that Europe is afraid of the situation which is happening. And it's frustrating because Europe is much bigger than the United States by population. Europe is richer than any other part of the world. But lacking leadership and lacking strength, military strength, Europe feels itself not how it should be, and that is bad. And I think that's the question of the next months. Maybe if not the whole Europe, maybe part of Europe is ready to protect itself, because Putin, when he feels now weakness of the West, and it means that he can attack again, and next time he will attack already European countries, members of European Union. So it's dangerous.
Do you think that this may change with Friedrich Merz becoming the new German Chancellor? Could Germany actually provide the momentum for Europe to turn around?
I think that Friedrich Merz, I hope, I try to believe and I try to hope Mr. Merz is much more strong in his statement and in his position than Olaf Scholz was. So I try to find the good, and I really, German election, they showed a good result. Part of pro-Russian forces failed. AfD, which they took a lot, but not so much to form the government. So now that's the moment. And Mr. Merz made his first statement about autonomy, about need of European defense. It looks good, promising. So I hope, because Germany, as the biggest country and the wealthiest country in European Union, should lead.
Now, what do you think about the situation from the standpoint of Central and Eastern Europe? Because some commentators say, okay, the NATO alliance is crumbling away, but Central and Eastern European countries, they have a perspective of good cooperation with the US for the last couple of years, including under the first Trump administration. Do you think that perhaps we're focusing too much on what Trump says, well, we should be also focusing on what he does. And I'm referring in particular to the fact that, for example, Poland's president, Andrzej Duda, following conversation with Donald Trump, said there is no indication that America is going to pull out its troops from this part of the world. Could this be a beacon of hope in a way?
Let's hope. I'm not Nostradamus, as you are not too, and Mr. Duda too. We don't know. We will see. But what we do know is that now the United States are less interested in Europe than probably ever after 1945. So that is a reality. And it's not just rhetoric, it's the position. How it will develop, what does it mean? Will the United States really leave Europe completely? Or, for example, leave some parts but will not leave Poland, okay, or Romania? I don't know. So East and Central European countries. The biggest American number of troops is in Germany. Will the United States leave Germany? We don't know. We don't know, and I don't know. But we will see it soon, and we should be prepared. Oh, you know, what is bad is that it looks like Europe is still not prepared. And that is bad. And if Europe will be prepared, it's always, you know, you remember this, parabellum, yeah? So if you are not preparing for war, so the war will come to you. So that's, you should prepare to the war to avoid it. So if Europe wants to be still ally of the United States, it should be prepared for the situation when the United States will leave. And in this situation, the United States probably will not leave. That's all.
Do you think that Europe really has an opportunity now that it seems to be wasting? I'm referring to the billions of US dollars in Russian assets. These have been frozen. Of course, Europe is using the proceeds from these assets to help Ukraine, but not the assets themselves. Do you think an outright seizure would actually help and also project the image of Europe as a reasonably unified force that can act when necessary?
Absolutely. That's something which can be done now. But unfortunately, we saw yesterday comments of President Macron again when he he didn't support it. So I agree with you. I'm pushing also this agenda. Yesterday, there were a lot of Western leaders here in Kyiv, all European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, many leaders, many members of the parliament, and so on. And I was telling this, that let's do this, let's seize Russian assets. But I see there is no political will to do this, unfortunately. And that shows that Europe, internally, with the will of Europe, is not strong enough.
And do you think the situation could change if Ukraine decides to sign the minerals deal? Of course, only when this deal is actually providing security guarantees for Ukraine, because there are reports the initial version did not, so President Zelenskyy didn't sign it. But could this still be a way of keeping the US interested in this part of the world?
I don't know, have you seen it, but yesterday the Russian dictator Putin said that they want to sign a deal with the United States about rare earth. So, you know, I mean, that's what United States showed to us. When you are strong, everybody needs you. That's all. And they're gonna use it. When we speak about deal about rare earths in Ukraine, I don't think it is a kind of a game changer. I don't think so. But what we see is that now everybody are ready to propose to United States their rare earth and everything else which is needed. So I just want Europe, all of us, Ukraine, Poland, other European countries, to make conclusions from this, to take lessons from what's happening now.
Oleksiy Goncharenko was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your insight. And I'm Jan Czerwiński, you're watching TVP World. Please stay with us for more latest news and features.